Hi, and welcome back to the Ravioli podcast. Guys, I fucking moved abroad. News. Like, it's not news for people that have been following me on Instagram or like my friends, of course, and family, but like if you want to be updated of what I do on a daily basis, just go follow me there because sometimes news here on the podcast are not as up to date as they are on Instagram, but I moved abroad to Berlin, Germany. I'm going to talk about all of that on this episode. I'm not going to go through all like the details of the process because further in time, like maybe in a month or two, I'm going to do like a Q&A and like if you have any doubt or like if you also want to apply and move abroad on the Erasmus program for internships, I can always help you as long as I can. But I'm going to tell you the entire story. So basically, I moved here because I'm taking a curricular internship at a company so that I can finish my master, and it's financed by the Erasmus program. Because if you don't know, because I know that universities, they mostly just like talk about the studying part of Erasmus, like going abroad as an exchange student, but you can also go as an exchange trainee, and they do not have a lot of information. I basically was my personal assistant during all these years since like December last year. I've started applying for this almost a year because the first meeting I attended to get some info was like in October or November of last year, so crazy. But it's not that good because universities, they are not well informed about these processes, so you have to look just for a bunch of information by yourself. Sometimes you don't know where to look for that information or like if it's true or like I don't know, there's so many documents, so many bureaucracies you have to take care of. So before we go into more details, I just advise you, like, if you really want to take an internship abroad, be aware that it's going to be kind of exhausting until you are in the place, until you are really there. Don't take it for granted until you are in the place, because like there are so many details that everything can go wrong. But I don't want to scare you. Like, if you really want, just apply for it. I cannot believe like I could do this because it's so many things. Like, I cannot even begin with one. But like, just be aware and realize that if it's something that you really want to do, because it's going to take a lot of extra work, a lot of extra hours of your day. So just know that. But other than that, it has been really great. I've been here for 2 weeks now. Oh my god, this is the second weekend because I'm recording this previously, so I have some backup episodes. But when I'm recording, this is my second week in Berlin, like my second weekend. So I'm like kind of on an off day of work because it's Saturday. And I always wanted to go to study abroad. I always wanted to go on Erasmus for studying since I went to university on the bachelor. So 4 years ago, I always had this in mind. I already had this in mind. And I was on my first year of university when COVID arrived. Like, it was the second semester of my first year of college when the COVID and the pandemic arrived. So, like for Erasmus, you have to apply a semester before or like a year before. I don't even remember anymore, you know. But it's like super early in time. So when I was going to apply in the second semester, so I could go in the second year of college, COVID arrived. So it ruined my plans. Basically, like, you know, COVID ruined all of our plans. It ruined all of my college experience. So that's why I also love my master year, because it was so free of COVID and fucking rules and health cares or whatever. But yeah, you know, like, we all struggle with the pandemic in different ways. It all ruined something in our lives, so I'm not the only one. But Erasmus experience failed because of that. And when the rules started to like back off a little bit, and governments were like kind of going softer with the rules, I was on my last semester of university, on my third year. So I was like, I'm not going away now. It's my last semester of this degree, and always wanted to take a master too, not only the bachelor, but I always had in mind like I want to take a master. So I knew that the possibilities weren't out of the way, because as I said, like, I wanted to take the master, so I could always go study abroad in the master. So I was not completely like ruined, you know. I was not that demotivated. I was like, okay, we still have a chance, we still have opportunities. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to wait until I'm in the master, if I go into the master, because at that time I didn't even have applied to one, or like didn't know the results. So I was like, just go with the flow. Basically, that's how I describe all my college life, because I also just applied to one master and I was like, just go with the flow. I have to be accepted no matter what. So just fuck it. And I went in the master, and as soon as I was there, I started emailing the office of like international relations, just asking like, oh hey, I'm interested in taking an Erasmus semester abroad. I'm in the master in marketing. Could you give me some info about it? Like, is there a meeting where you clarify like some questions, a Q&A, open Q&A at college or something? And she was like, yeah, just wait, because you are going to receive an email. It's going to be forwarded to all students, and you can attend that meeting. And I was like, perfect, I'm going to wait. I'm not forgetting this, okay? And I went to that meeting, and at that time, I already talked to some friends that I had met like in the master, and I told them like I wanted to go in Erasmus because I hadn't that opportunity in the bachelor. And they were like, oh, we wanted to try that too, like, let's do that. It's just also like a meeting, it's not compromise with anything, so we just go with you and then we'll see. So we went. And they are always like, okay, so you can either apply for Erasmus for studying or internships, but let's talk about studying. And they just shit on internships. It's like crazy. Like, they don't even care, they don't talk about it. So I don't even know how am I here, because it's like it's basically like deep web information. You cannot access it. It's crazy. But well, like, we were in that meeting, and at the end of the meeting there was like a spot for people to ask questions, and I was like, hi, like, we just explained our situation. We are studying a master in marketing. It's only 2 years, so maybe we have to apply now, because if you want to go in the next semester, it has to be now. Or how can we go? Like, can we just fail at some subjects this semester so we can go in the first semester of next year and study, because on the second year we don't have subjects, so it was like kind of impossible to go studying in the master. And she was like, no, you can't. There's nothing to do in your situation. You just cannot apply to an Erasmus. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me. I'm not going to give up. I just cried that day. I remember I was at the bus stop, catching the bus home in my college town, and I was like almost crying. And I wanted to call my parents, but I was like, Inês, you are a grown up. Just get your shit together. But I was like so sad because I just missed an opportunity because of fucking COVID. It was like not that I was like, oh, I'm scared to go on Erasmus, but now that I want, like, it's too late, girl. No, it was not that. I was like, fucking COVID. I was not going to pay hundreds of euros to be abroad and be like locked down in a house with like housemates that I don't know. Just, like, it was not what I envisioned for an Erasmus experience. So that's why I waited. But that day was like, I felt it was the end, but at the same time, I had a little hope. Like, I have to search more info about this. Like, I'm not just giving up this easier. So we just kept talking, like, between each other, my friends and I. And I was like, let's go to, I don't know if I don't even know if it was my idea, but like, we just went to the office of the international relationships. Like, we went there in person and we were like, hi, so this is our situation. And we were told like we cannot go on Erasmus, but there must be another, like there must be another possibility, because this cannot be the end. Fucking like, just remember something so that we can smile and breathe. And she was like, yeah, like studying wise, it's really difficult because we cannot assure you that you cannot like just fail some subjects and do next semester, because we cannot assure that it's possible, that the professors here will allow it. So it's kind of risky and you might just take another year all again. So we wouldn't advise you to do that, but you can go on an internship. Because if you don't know, also my master, you can either write a thesis or take an internship in the end. You don't have to do both. You can choose one or another. And that was one of the main reasons I chose this master, because I was not feeling to write a thesis. Like, please, like, give me a break. So she was like, yeah, you can go on an internship, but you have to find like the company for yourselves. We are not going to give you like a list of companies we work with. There's no list. The students are the ones responsible to find one and like get in touch with the company and like set an interview, like all of that. We don't deal with that stuff. We just deal with like the paperwork between countries, and like then when you are accepted at company, then we can talk to you. So I was like, oh my god, like I was a child by then. I was like, I don't even know how to search for. There was no criteria, like it's just someone telling you like, now you can go on Google and just find a company in Europe without like a keyword or something. It was like, okay, there are no tips here. What am I going to do? But we were like, okay, there's still hope. So I felt a little bit relieved. And then, of course, it was like January, and I was Googling nonstop companies, emailing them, sending CVs, writing cover letters. If you want to like I also do some freelance work. Like if you want to improve your CV, you can text me on Instagram or other social media, like, because I do some freelance. I have done some curriculums before, and I was like sending my CVs all over. I translated all my CV into English, which I can do that to you too if you want, of course, require my services. But this is no ad for me. I just wanted to say that it was like nothing was decided, but I already had applied for Erasmus, because you have to apply for Erasmus even if you don't have a company yet. Just apply for the program to the European Union just to be like accepted. And you just say you are interested, like you fill a form and saying like either if it's for studying or an internship, what are the months we are expecting to go, but nothing like permanent. And like, yeah. So I had to do that in December, I think. And on January, I was already looking into companies, and I went into some interviews. Of course, there were like a bunch of companies that never answered me back, but I guess that's life, you know. And also, like, I went to an interview on an university in Slovenia, and they accepted me, but it was more like administration work, and I went into something in the marketing field, because when my professors and my coordinator of the master had to accept my internship set of activities, you know, like they had to be connected to the marketing field, because this is an internship to finish my master, so it has to be like connected with everything we have learned the past year, and it makes sense, of course. So I was like, yeah, I don't think this will do. So I was like, okay, I have to apply for more companies. Like, I'm not going to do like administration work in a desk in an university, you know. So then I applied more, and I found one company called, no, probably I shouldn't say the name, you know, but I found a company in Berlin, and it's on my LinkedIn. What the fuck? So I found Evomine in Berlin, and I was like, oh, this is so fun. It's basically a talent recruiter agency. And I emailed them, but like my applications were all spontaneous. They were not like asking or like offering jobs in the companies. I was just like spontaneously applying for jobs. So I applied to this company, and also I applied to, I'm just talking about the ones I was accepted in, because the other ones I don't remember anymore, of course. But I have a list of companies. So also, if you are considering going on an internship, you can text me as well. Like, just feel free, because I still have that list, and it may help you. Like, the ones that didn't answer me might answer you, you know, like there's no logic, like there's no pattern. So then I emailed another one. It was like real estate for boats and houses in Malta, and I also was accepted in that. So I was accepted in these three. I think that was it, because there were other ones that also answered me later, like, okay, can we go into an interview? But by then I was like, no, I already decided, just fuck it, I'm not going to any other interviews, because like we have limits, we have like deadlines in the university for these all Erasmus documents. So I was like, nah, it's okay. So between these three, I was like, yeah, I prefer the Berlin one, because it was marketing, Germany, like good on the CV. It was like a really developed country. And I was like, it sounds good vibes. I've been in Berlin before I came to live here and work here. I didn't stay long, but I had some like preview what Berlin could look like. And also, like, I think it was like a good first experience, like a good first professional experience on my curriculum and on my like experience of living. Because sometimes you will ask me like, why did you choose Berlin? Like, do you know German? No, I don't. I've been on Duolingo since May, and I cannot say a lot of things. Like, I can set sentences and like, you know, but just basic stuff. And I'm afraid because I don't know if I'm really pronouncing it well, but it's, I don't know. Like, I don't speak German. I don't either speak the other languages of the other countries besides Spain. And when I was looking for companies, I excluded all of the companies that were in Spain because I wanted to go to another country. Either I wanted to go to another country except Portugal and Spain. So, like, if you are looking for something in Spain, I cannot help you. I got in an interview, then they asked me to go to the second interview at this company, and then I was just hired as internship. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if that's the term, because it's a non-profit internship, which is kind of sad because the Erasmus scholarship doesn't even pay for my room, and I still have like food and groceries expenses and other stuff, so kind of sad. But so that you can have an idea, I just sent the last document that I had to send like yesterday or something. So just for you to imagine how many documents I have to deal with since the beginning, like almost a year sending documents back and forth. And, like, it's just really, really crazy. Like, you have to be like really organized so you don't miss any deadline and like any information that you have to like sign or something. Then I basically emailed the university. I was hired in a company, so now you can just talk to them. I gave the detailed contacts and like they talked to the company. Then the company had to give me like the set of activities of my role, like what tasks would I be doing. Like, they also had to give me like some other information so I could give to my master's coordinators so they could approve my internship here. So many things. Also, I had to sign papers like to apply for the scholarship. I had to apply for like healthcare. I had to take a test in August, so it was like really recently. It was after I arrived from Ireland. I had to take an English test. It was okay, like it was kind of easy. And I had to sign a contract with the company and the university. It was a bunch of documents. Like, when I was accepted, I started looking for rooms online, but I was told to go on websites, but also on Facebook groups, because there are a lot of people that post that they have rooms available. But every person I texted like on Facebook, they were like, I don't know if I'm being scammed because I've never done this before. So I just put it like a question box on my Insta story saying like, please help me. How do I know if I'm being scammed or not? Like, send me like tips to avoid being scammed. And like, I can tell you now, like, people said to me like, first be sure that you make a contract, you settle a contract, and be sure that you understand what's in the contract. Ask to make a video call with the landlord, but like if he doesn't accept it, probably it's a scam. Or like, just ask the landlord to make a video call from the room or from the apartment, because sometimes they just show pictures of a random thing and it's not even real. And yeah, these were some of the main tips, and I was unsuccessfully done with this thing. I was like, no one would make video calls with me. They were always like, oh, I'm away from Berlin. And I was like, yeah, like, you are all the way from Berlin. Why is this a pattern? So I was done with Facebook groups for a while. I started emailing people, but like on websites, if you want to take a room, you have to pay the deposit and the first month rent. So it's like 1,000 euros that you have to pay so you can have the room. And I was like, yeah, it's like I'm not even sure that that I'll go to Berlin, because with all these papers from Erasmus, I'm so scared that I'm not going to be able, because last minute something is going to be like wrong or something. I cannot pay like 1,000 euros, and it's still, I'm like 4 months ahead, so no. So I just stopped. Like in beginning of June, I just stopped looking into rooms. I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait until I'm really there so I can ask the landlords if I can visit the rooms in person, so I'm sure I'm not going to be scammed and they are real. And then I can also Google like if they are close to the company, and when I have like a better image and a better vision of the city, like I can picture if it's close or not, because Google Maps is really handful and Google Maps is really useful, but when you are living in a city, you just know all the tricks, and I wanted to know all the tricks before just paying my fucking ass to a landlord. So I booked my flight in like July. So I arrived in August. I came here on August 29th, and I booked my flight, I think it was like in the beginning of July or end of June. It was something like that. And I came in a business flight, like a business class flight, because I came in TAP Air Portugal, I think it's called like that, which is like the Star Alliance air company. So it's like the bear, because I was not going to travel low cost with like 2 whole luggages and like a small carry-on and my personal backpack, like that's a lot of stuff. In the end it's going to be really expensive, so I was just like, okay, I'm going to take an economy class flight, but in a good company. And when I was looking for flights, I was like, it's just a matter of like, it was a 20 or 30 euro difference between economic flight and business class flight. And I could carry one more whole luggage, so I could carry 2 in total of like 23 kilo each one of them, plus a carry-on, plus my backpack. So I was like, okay, I have, like, it's Berlin, it's winter weather, it's cold, I have to take all of my coats, and even them, I don't even know if they are enough for the cold that's going to be here, because when I was here, it was February in the past, but it was not that cold. It was like 7 degrees, but it's like, okay, 7 degrees, at least it's not snowing, but I don't know what's the least it can make. So I had to take a lot of clothes, like clothes that take a lot of space, and like kitchen tools. I took some Tupperwares, like also some office material to work, and like to be here, like I'm fucking living here. I'm not going on holidays. And also like the flight was at midday, it was not an early flight, so I was like, okay, at that time I'm going to need to have lunch. So instead of just buying at the airport, like if it's just a 20 euro difference or 30 euro difference, the price I would pay to take another luggage or like buy lunch at the airport, which is expensive even if it's just a sandwich, I think it compensates the difference of money. And I was like, let's book the fucking business class flight. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, who am I? I will be crying that day, but I will also be like living my best life. The beginning of my rich life starts now, starts that day. So, like, I don't know, it was like a week before I came here. So, a week before I took the business class flight, I received an email saying, like, hi, Miss Inês, which meal from the menu would you like to take for lunch? And I was like, oh, this is so not my reality. And I was like, I went to ravioli. Yeah, there were ravioli. I don't know, like planes. Also, when I went to Miami, I think I ate ravioli and I was like, what is the thing with planes and raviolis? But I kind of like it. So I ate truffle ravioli. It was not great, but it's like, it's a plane, you know. What am I expecting? The flight was great. You know, like I'm also going to record other episodes talking about the emotional part of moving abroad and like all the perks, but also all the feelings, the negative feelings that come up eventually. I'm only here for 2 weeks now, so of course I'm not like deeply missing home, because when I was in Miami I was like 3 weeks, 1 month, so you know, it's different. But also like there were a lot of things to say to goodbye that's kind of hard, but I'm going to talk that in the future. I'm not going to just go all into all the details now and then don't have content for other episodes. So I've been here. I'm living in Berlin now. I'm on a temporary place for just 3 weeks until I get a permanent room. I still don't have one. I requested one and I paid like 1,000 euros yesterday, but I'm still waiting for the landlord answer. So I don't know what's my future, but we'll see. We are just living day by day, basically. Also, I'm going to record like how is my life here. I'm not going to go into that now. I guess I just wanted to share like that I'm moving abroad and like why did I move abroad. I always had this idea since I was like, I'm not saying like a kid, you know, but since I was like an older teenager or like young adult, I always had the idea that on my first years of career, I wanted to move abroad. I didn't know the country. I really have that mindset of like American dream, you know, but step by step, we never know. But my parents, it was not like a surprise when I told them, okay, I'm going to an internship abroad. They were not like, what, you Inês? We never thought you could go. Like, no, it was not that. It's like my parents, my boyfriend, they already know this idea that I had and all this like motivation, all my plans or like my goals for the future, because they were not like really plans, you know. So it was not a surprise, not neither for them, neither for me. Like, you know, I always wanted this. That's why I think I'm not like suffering deeply, because I know that there are a lot of people go in Erasmus or move abroad because they probably think they find better opportunities, but at the same time, like, it's really difficult because it was not something that has been on their future plans. But me, it's like, this is my dream life, even though I'm like giving up on so many things, you know. It's also my dream and I'm like starting to live it. It's not the end of my dream. It's like not my end goal to come here and just stop. And, you know, like, it's just the beginning of a good life, I hope, a good future. A girl will see. That's it. If you want to be updating on my daily life here in Berlin, what I do here, you can follow me on Instagram. You can also follow me on YouTube because I'm going to start posting vlogs here in Berlin. And I guess that's it. I love talking to you guys, and we'll talk next week. Bye.